This is the second main edition of the Bitcoin Film Festival. So a festival about Bitcoin culture, all this independent cinema that we talked about before. And because this year is this magical year of a Bitcoin halving, the fourth halving actually, we are organizing the second BFF or BFF 24 as we call, together with the halving party. And as Kasia said, yes, we would like to bring some tradition, something that others can also adapt in the future because we are focused on films. This year we are doing halving party. Maybe in the next 4 years, it's not going to be us, right? So we want to bring something a little bit in the space. And as Kasia also mentioned about this connection to Olympics, for example, one of the agenda that we have within the halving party, so it's actually like one halving, 2 events over 3 days. We are starting already on 18th. Afternoon with the European Bowling Tournament. There is another conference partnering with us, Free Market. There is also laser tag. So we are not talking about conference. We are talking about cultural experience. First of all, you have this film festival screenings, actually 5 premieres we are going to have. If I remember correctly, there are like 11 titles we are going to screen. We are talking about real cinema, theater cinema experience, filmmakers coming, actors. There will be debates, workshops as well for anyone who wants to learn something about filmmaking, their experience, and so on and so forth. Yeah, awards that I mentioned at the beginning, the voting for different categories. So really like a, let's say, Little Cannes, or some other awards given or the events for the cinema. But here we are talking about sound movies. And additionally, there is this whole gamification around halving party. There will be a lot of games from half marathon, which is not a typical run that you start and finish. It's 21 kilometers, but more creative way to complete and collect points. There will be a lot of fun, a lot of games. The whole idea is like with this Olympics that there are different teams and people are having this 3 days and a half, so to say, and they can collect points, doing different fun activities, learn about culture, learn about Bitcoin, learn about even psychedelics, learn about Poland, learn from each other. I don't know, learn also about job marketplaces because some of our partners are providing that. In between, have fun, get to know each other better, and celebrate the power of cinema and the halving. So Bitcoin culture.
Hello guys, welcome once again to Bitcoiner podcast. Today episode, you're gonna love it. You see, we have in the past couple of weeks, we had the Oscars, and you remember Cillian Murphy, that he won Best Actor, and we had Christopher Nolan, that he won for Best Film and Best Director. Also we had Emma Stone, that she won for Best Actress. So, all cool guys. So, today, they won't be on the show, but I brought 2 people that are super cool, cooler than them. So, I want to introduce Şelale and Kasia from European Halving Party by Bitcoin Film Festival. So, welcome guys.
Hi everyone. Thanks for a nice introduction, Juan.
Yeah, I love it.
Absolutely.
Us as like Hollywood on the other side of a mirror.
Yeah, and actually a fun fact, last year when we organized the first edition of the Bitcoin Film Fest in Warsaw, of course, as a proper film festival, you have also voting for films, different categories. And the award was a Satoshi statuette, This year, because our mascot is a rabbit, so it actually fits what you said about Oscars. Whatever Oscars. Everyone should voting for golden rabbit. So last year it was Satoshi, but this year it will be even cooler with this golden rabbit. Yeah. Anyone who will see more or learn more about our project, they will everywhere see this funny rabbit wearing orange glasses. So yeah, golden rabbits for filmmakers. No,
that's so cool. You see, cooler statues and cooler projects than the Oscars.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Bitcoin also have a good artists, and we're going to discuss and talk about that. So, guys, every episode that when someone is new in the podcast, I would like to introduce yourself a bit, because for a listener, maybe they don't know you a bit in the space, because Bitcoin space is so huge. So we come from different places. So I would like that maybe you can share a bit about your background, and then after that, we can start discussing about your Bitcoin journey. So I don't know, Şelale, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. Okay, I will try to be quick. So
Now don't worry, take your time.
yes, how to put everything short. Okay, so I'm first of all I'm a digital nomad. Yeah, changing places. And I do really enjoy it. It's also somehow connected to my Bitcoin journey and helping this journey as well to happen and expand. I'm also a privacy advocate, and of course, Bitcoin evangelist. I have marketing background. I've been working in many different companies in the past. I actually quit my job 2 or 3 times. And since that, I've been working more than ever, which is a fun fact of being unemployed. Yeah, I like to call myself like a sharp mind with a creative soul, because I'm doing literally everything from painting, drawing, writing, translating, knitting to strategy building and counting numbers. Yeah, I joined the Bitcoin FilmFest team, I think early last year, before the first event got organized, where I actually met Kasia and a couple of other amazing people building this space, supporting this space. I run a couple of my smaller projects, support people I can call friends, Bitcoin only projects. Yeah, I think that's it. That's me.
That's very cool. Yeah. Kasia, what about you?
So I worked for a long time. My story is that I worked for quite a bit of time in human rights advocacy, and also some libertarian think tanks. And at some point, those 2 areas of mine, my devotion to just try to contribute to the mission of expanding personal freedom and financial freedom, merged into Bitcoin. So right now I'm just a modest Bitcoin and human rights activist. Professionally, I'm with the Open Dialogue Foundation, and our mission is to pilgrimage to Western decision makers and educate them on Bitcoin and show them the humanitarian use cases for Bitcoin. And I'm also a proud, happy rabbit with the Bitcoin FilmFest, contributing to this area of Bitcoin art. And privately, I am also a vocalist, hoping to also build my own project called Autonomia, but I need some more time for this, I guess.
That's so cool. Yeah, actually, you know, when I joined this group, it was super cool because I met so talented people that is working here on the European Halving party, and also I knew that when I was in this group chat, I saw other friends that were there. I was like, wow, this is so amazing. We're connecting each other from different spaces. So yeah, I love the project. I'm very fond of the project. So I'm glad for everything what you're building, guys. I love movies. I mean, who doesn't like movies? Especially about if we're focusing. Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to say, like, thank you for picking it up, for spotting it, because to me, Bitcoin FilmFest actually is about friendship. We are just a group of activists and friends united on doing some valuable, we think, things together, and sort of celebrating decentralization on personal level, just voluntary action and friendship and making things together. So great to hear.
Absolutely. And maybe just to add to anyone who doesn't know us yet, or Bitcoin FilmFest, not to confuse 2 things. So first, we will be mentioning a lot about events probably, but actually Bitcoin FilmFest is not event per se and only event. It is actually an initiative. So we started as an event last year, and then there were this, as we call it, mini festivals or road shows all over the place. But actually we are just building a platform for independent filmmakers, for creators, because Bitcoin cinema, it doesn't have to be only movies and films. There is a lot of talented people, passionate people who want to showcase stories from their travels, so vlogs, or who want to do shorts about important topics. It doesn't have to be only about Bitcoin. It can be just about independence or healthy lifestyle. So we are building this kind of network, this initiative, as Kasia nicely said, with a group of friends, and we are becoming later friends with them as well, for them. And also for people who, as you, enjoy video content, and maybe they have recently enough of seeing the same stuff over and over again, on Netflix, as Amazon, and you know, like cinema, like, I don't know, 20th version of Spider-Man, or some films that are just trying to shield narratives that, you know, they are not true. So yeah, we are, first of all, above the events, we are an initiative, a networking hub for filmmakers, for film lovers, and for creators.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hold on. I'm curious, before continuing on that path, I'm curious about something. And I want to ask before I forget to ask, because I always ask. I want to know about your rabbit hole journey. Do you have like your Bitcoin rabbit hole journey? Do you have like an aha moment or that brought you directly to Bitcoin? Do you have, or it was more like a process? Well, I don't know of anything that you can share about that.
Okay, if Kasia is silent, then I said. I'm sometimes joking that I was always a nomad and a Bitcoiner, though I didn't know it before. And for me, Bitcoin is more than money and technology, though it's the best money ever humanity got and incredible technology. I also trusted it because of the values and the entire ethos and people that are, let's say, following all these things. So Bitcoiners. So for me, it was actually a process. I can say that around 2017, I consciously became a Bitcoiner. I was not Bitcoin only, and I was, of course, missing a lot of information. I think it's a process. All of us, I mean, the space is growing and evolving so much that all of us is learning almost every day, and it's impossible to learn everything. But in 2017, that was my aha moment. Like, I don't remember what was that. I was probably working still either in a bank or the social trading platform, which is like related to, the fiat world a lot. I remembered a lot of people were talking about it, but on the other hand, still repeating the same weird narrative that is a Ponzi scheme. I don't remember exactly what the aha moment was. I remember only that my husband was really serious about it, and probably because I trust him as well, I started learning it on my own before. But yes, 2017 was this kind of, yes, it clicked. I learned the white paper a couple of times, of course, read tons of books, not only about Bitcoin actually. And then I was like, yeah, that's it. This is what we need as a humanity. This is what we need. Probably Kasia can say more. If we want to help each other, if we want to survive, and if we want to actually be happy and have some kind of hope, because everything is around us just getting crazier and crazier. So, but I don't remember what exactly made this click happen.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Kasia, what about you?
I came way later than Shelley. So I'm still on my learning curve, but on the other hand, I keep thinking to myself, well, patience is a virtue, and also it's always best to keep this newcomer mind with whatever we do. But I would say when it comes to its meaning, for me as a libertarian, previously a libertarian activist, like Bitcoin is the most liberalizing technology there is. So this is also why I'm quite disenchanted with some of my fellows on the libertarian side who didn't jump on this revolution yet, at least. For as a human rights person or activist, I think what dawned on me was this realization that since 2018 or 2008 or 9, we actually live in a completely different reality, because previously, sovereignty was defined by the state. Like, the state had currency, and currency was a part of definition of sovereignty, right? Whereas right now, we actually regain this financial sovereignty, and there is no personal freedom without financial freedom. And I was swayed with especially Alex Gladstein writings. And I was just mesmerized by the humanitarian opportunities Bitcoin provides. Like, just to throw an example, like if you think of, humanitarian crisis, like refugee crisis, like people in Holocaust, right, didn't have a chance to get their wealth with them through the border. Whereas now you can escape a war with just 12 words memorized, and this is mind blowing. And my goal is to deliver this message to more and more people. And as a person, Bitcoin to me, just as for a human being, Bitcoin is the execution of some best ideals there are. And I think there are some just larger universal values encoded in it, which are very much aligned with me as a person. Yeah,
I remember that. Well, I told you before we started the podcast that I brought Lura here and she talked about the Open Dialogue Foundation, and she was giving me some examples that how, but that time, I think right now still, because it hasn't ended yet, how Bitcoin was helping to Ukrainians to escape from the Russian invasion there. It's super amazing that we have a tool that actually is, as Şelale said, it's not just money, it's not just tech, it's something that provides us liberty.
Yeah, and the examples that you use are extreme. I think Holocaust, anyway, it's extremely extreme.
Okay,
like Russia, Ukraine, it's very. I don't unfortunately think, I don't want to bring like too much of politics, but there is even a war situation now happening, Israel, Palestine, and I don't think people have even a chance to escape. But what, for example, Bitcoin is doing, and this is the most incredible from the humanitarian point of view, or human side of things, think we are, most of us, I can say, born privileged, right? So it doesn't matter if you are in a poorer family or not. The three of us, I can say, we are in a place that we are having electricity, running water, and even if you are in a poorer background and let's say your parents didn't have education, cannot provide for one to you, and so on and so forth. So I call it like you can be on the level, let's say 1, 2, 3, let's say 5 and 10 is the maximum, right? Still you have a chance. It might be harder or lighter, but still you have a chance to climb, to escape, to go somewhere. We are in a 21st century where many people are unbanked. I mean, Juan, you might know it even better. Unbanked. They are not even documented. They don't exist in a system. They never had the chance to register. So they don't exist officially. We are talking about people who are not having running water. They don't have electricity. How they are on the level 0. How for them, if not Bitcoin, there's no chance, almost zero chance that they can go higher. Like money is a tool, right? I mean, people can say money is dirty, disgusting. I mean, let's be clear. Money is something that we all need, but we need sound money. Money that is not corrupted. Money that is for people, that people can just access it and decide what they are going to do with it. And money that is not also going to be overwritten, what is happening with the fiat money. So if not Bitcoin, a lot of people would have zero chance to change their lives, to chase their dreams, to get better, to also maybe sometimes even children and teenagers to support their families. This is incredible. It's finally giving power to people and giving a chance to have normal lives. Something that we very often in the Western hemisphere forget about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I just a comment on this. Yeah, I totally agree. And money is not evil. I would say love for money might be evil, if anything. Yeah. And on this point, I think this is also like if you try to meet a person, like wherever this person is, I think it's valuable to start the conversation on how this person understands money, because money is just a language of communicating values. Money is something through which we exchange our energy and time, right? And yet there is this stigma around money. So I think it's always valuable to like set those things first. And by the way, like I didn't want to make it either political or bring Holocaust. What I really wanted to say is that just as one, I feel like I need to get back to this. What I really wanted to say is that, you know, people, like 15 years ago, they didn't have such a chance. Those who escape like catastrophes like we do now. But as you said, Şelale, the use cases are endless.
Absolutely.
Endless.
But
for me, sorry.
No, go ahead, Şelale.
So look, case like mine, I'm not talking personally about myself, but people, let's say, who are mobile, who are traveling, right? at least for now, we are, let's say, more or less freely able to travel. And then imagine that you would be a gold bag, or you would just have a lot of cash. How you are just going to move between borders is almost impossible. Whereas with Bitcoin, it's your responsibility if you own it, if you keep it safe, and then it's money that you don't need actually anything physical to carry with you, and you just travel wherever you go, you can use it. And actually, there are already places you can really use it. It's store of value, but it's also a mean of payment. And it will come more and more. I actually hope that the global south will be more Bitcoin friendly, like adopt Bitcoin faster than actually Western countries. But it's already happening. You can go places and you can just, kind of like more or less than more, but still you can already be living on a Bitcoin standard. So, and you don't need to carry anything with you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, because I love some people in this space, and I wanted to mention Farida, who is who right now is one of leaders of Africa Bitcoin Conference, and a wonderful human being and a very brave individual. She's actually a courageous democracy fighter, a Togolese democracy fighter, and this is how she discovered it, because they were organizing protests against the authorities, and then at some point, as it happens, as it's the usual story, really, those oppressive governments can get all the data and start oppressing both, like, the recipients of the money as well as donors. So then they had to switch to transporting cash, through borders physically, but that carried risk and also was super counterproductive. And this is how she actually discovered Bitcoin, so just to your point. And
but this is very interesting what you said. There is, if I may add, another interesting aspect of Bitcoin. So think that from the tax money, right? Most of the people in normal conditions, they are paying taxes. And if you are against the current system, or if the current system is oppressing you, or it's fair, not fair, you are struggling in whatever way, still you are supporting the system with your money, right? So even people who are going to protests, they are still supporting the system, feeding it, because they are paying taxes. They are operating within the system. So what Bitcoin is giving, you can just opt out from the system. Yeah. And in this sense, this is like this peaceful revolution. You don't need to go. I'm not saying it's wrong or it's good. I'm not judging it. But you don't need to go to the streets to protest. You are really peacefully just slowly going away from the system. So the more people would do that, the weaker the system is. So this is the best way to protest.
There are there are a lot of examples with it. I mean, my country is one of those examples that we didn't have bank services, and we got it in the moment that we made Bitcoin legal tender, right? So, of course, there's not like everyone is using it. That's why we have a lot of projects about Bitcoin education, but at least people are aware that they have this tool where they can save their money little by little with educating them. That is not that with Bitcoin you're going to get rich, or I don't know. It's to educate them that they will have somewhere that they can save their money to live their lives, something that they didn't have these services or tools in their daily lives because they needed to go to the bank. And
there is no middleman, right? There are actually coming back to films like the area that's together with Kasia we are supporting, like the Bitcoin FilmFest. There are a couple of nice productions as well about El Salvador, like the recent one from Graham Rittner, Dare to Dream. Yeah. One from...
Beautiful film. I watched it.
That's a very inspiring one.
Yeah, this one is a beautiful story. But the one, the Bond Unbind, I think, Tomer Kantor as well, which is showing like this entire change in the country, a little bit of its past as well. And the revolution that started there, a little bit different sides as well, how people reacted. Then there are shorter productions, vloggers as well. I think it's a beautiful case. And I would love to see more of these real case scenarios, how Bitcoin is really changing lives of people, how it's changing countries, cultures, how kids and teenagers are reacting to it, and what kind of future they can have thanks to that. So, yeah, But Salvador, there are a couple of good titles. If anyone wants to learn more, yeah, there are already good titles existing.
Yeah, we're going to talk about all the films that are going to be there, and we're going to talk about the film. But now that we're talking on human rights, I want to ask you, Kasia, about a bit more about the Open Dialogue Foundation. Can you provide a bit of? I mean, I remember that I invited Luda, but it was a long time ago, so people maybe they didn't watch that episode. So I think it's really important to talk about it. So can you share a bit about what is the role that you played in the Open Dialogue Foundation, and maybe if you can, I don't know if you have like some stories that resembles or experiences that Bitcoin played part of, for example, real examples of how Bitcoin plays in, and help the individuals in these conflict zones or facing human rights.
Yeah, absolutely. So as a background, like Open Dialogue is this human rights advocacy group. So what it means really, and it exists for like 14 years now or 15 years. Oh, actually it was like the same year as Bitcoin. So what it means when it comes to a human rights advocacy group is that our role is to gather information on mostly human rights abuse and then deliver it to Western decision makers so they can make more well-informed decisions, if you will. And, we had a few areas of expertise that we covered. An important one for us was politically motivated persecution. So we were very much engaged in, for example, fighting for political prisoners, gathering data on political prisoners, and then showing it to Western decision makers so they put a certain pressure on authoritarian countries, which led to release of many individuals. But we are also a very strongly pro-Ukrainian organization. Ludmila is actually from Ukraine. Ludmila, who is the architect of Open Dialogue, who established it and who you interviewed or who you talked to. And now the story goes that when you have such powerful enemies as authoritarian states, you get a lot of smear press on the internet on you. So if you Google Open Dialogue Foundation, you can find a lot of very fanciful notions. Because some of those authoritarian states also invest quite a lot of money for black PR and discrediting their critics. So what happened to us is basically in 2019, we were as an organization, as an entity, debunked in Brussels, Belgium. And this also concerned the leadership of the Open Dialogue Foundation, like Ludmila. So from one day to another, we just lost our rights to banking. And none of the banks wanted to have ODF. And this is quite serendipitous because, as I see it right now, in hindsight, because we discovered Bitcoin and because we were forced to, right? And then by learning what Bitcoin is, we discovered its potential for human rights and humanitarian causes. But since we are an advocacy group, we try to apply our craft, so advocacy, lobbying, if you will, to right now knock on all the doors we can and inform policymakers that Bitcoin is not what they usually perceive it as. We built, Ludmila was, I have much appreciation for her efforts. Like, we built this Building True Change, BTC, if you will, coalition, which gathers activists from across the globe, really various countries, various continents, but also some industry leaders, industry educators. And together as this group, we jump on calls or arrange meetings with policymakers and tell them real life stories of how we use Bitcoin. And I think by the way, this is the power of this advocacy, that, you have only sometimes 30 minutes, like getting into technical questions. And this is also not our roles as human rights defenders and activists. That would be fruitless probably. So we just go to them and show them like real life cases of people who protected their rights with Bitcoin.
That's amazing. Yeah. Yes, I think it's important that people be aware of that, because I know it's important to know that there are foundations that you can support if you are in a conflict situation of your life. Hopefully not, but if sadly the world is like that and you have these cases, so it's important to know that you have someone that can help you, especially now that we have some conflicts open around the world. So yeah, and it's important to also speak more about how Bitcoin can help us, right? So talking about Bitcoin, because intersects in a lot of things. How this and this is for Şelale, how does the Bitcoin FilmFest contribute of the intersection with Bitcoin and art and activism?
Oh, by the way, I will give a voice to you immediately. It's just that, if you think if I try to think how those intersect, how, for example, my activity intersects human rights, Bitcoin FilmFest, so helping to grow, fostering the Bitcoin art. One way to put it together, I think it's through narratives, right? That it's building stronger narratives for Bitcoin, whether it's through art or through our work. So this is the way I sometimes try to connect it.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree. Totally. Şelale, sorry.
Yeah, definitely, and even more than that, it can bring this awareness to people, because when you think about it, reading is actually pretty demanding, right? Not everyone is, and also everyone is learning different information through different means, different tools. So reading is one of them. Not everyone will do that. Not everyone has time. Listening to podcasts, I can tell from my own experience, it takes really many hours to learn something, right? To process. And then films or generally cinema is, I think, the strongest medium that can teach about Bitcoin, that can make people more Bitcoin friendly, and that can open their eyes overall to perceive the world as it is. Not through pink glasses, not through some propaganda narratives that consciously or not, but we are consuming every day. So film, you have visual, you have sound, you have stories. It can teach you everything from documentaries about the history of money to the history and the, let's say, complexity of political organizations. But it can also inspire you, motivate you, and educate you through very light content. There are already cartoons for kids, which I also personally like. There can be shorts, there can be animations that will show you something not necessarily directly about Bitcoin, but will lead you later to learn more about Bitcoin or to perceive Bitcoin completely different. Or even what the two of you were just discussing a few minutes ago, like all these stories, if they would be recorded and told, maybe many people would just open their eyes and said, wow, such a thing exists. And this Bitcoin thing that everyone says, either you get rich, Lambo, or it's just some crazy geeky technology, actually not, is helping people, right? So in this sense, cinema is, I would say, medium that everyone is consuming every day. And it's very, very powerful, and it can bring, all different perspectives, and it can also educate, entertain, inspire. So I think it's really great to see that it's happening, that there are a lot of independent creators who are building this space, and that we can also help them through everything we do.
And you know what? I was, while you were speaking, I was I have some memories when I interviewed Julian Figueroa, that also he's a really good filmmaker. And we were discussing that even with Bitcoin, besides through the movies, they can share in a very effective way, because you have as you mentioned, the visual of the stories about Bitcoin. In the other side, when you're a producer, it's fascinating how they can be founded easier because you don't have a middleman. Of course, they have like Geyser, but where you can upload your project and people can send you the money. But I mean, in the case of Geyser, they don't hold the money, but they just show different projects. But with Bitcoin, that's the beauty, right? That you can found any project or independent filmmakers or artists, and you don't need
Yeah, and it's also
middleman. That's
related.
amazing.
Yeah, this is, I believe, also related to this power of the storytelling. And by the way, regarding the Julian, I think he published yesterday the Costa Rica short documentary about Costa Rica anarchists. So anyone who didn't see it yet, go and check.
A few weeks ago.
A few weeks ago? I think I saw it yesterday for the first time. Okay, so a few weeks
because it's going to be released in a couple of weeks ago.
In March, yes. But what you said, maybe also Kasia will have something extra to add. But think about it, everyone. If we are talking about huge productions and it requires really enormous budgets, right? Everything on average production that we see in a cinema, we are talking about huge numbers. So there is a whole bunch of people that will fund it, that can also decide what kind of stories can be told, what kind of stories are acceptable or not, or what is going to be sold and they can make money from. This is an entire business. I mean, Hollywood is one of the most lucrative business in the world. Yeah. So it decides, and very often I think it's blocking also a filmmaker, I can imagine, and from what I know from different conversations. Whereas when we are having Bitcoin, so either everyone through, let's say, community and Bitcoin projects is sponsoring this productions, and nobody should, in this sense, decide what should be told or not. So the filmmakers are, in this sense, like free, and it's their work, and they will just do it without any frames, any rules that are blocking their passion, their talent, and what they want to share with the world. And I hope that actually the future of Bitcoin cinema is like this. It's not necessarily going to be films and movies about Bitcoin directly, but literally just films, the cinema built on Bitcoin standard.
Yeah, absolutely. It's easier to fund any wonderful project that anyone can want to share. If you're an artist, you don't have to go to Hollywood. You have another alternative this time. Or you don't want to expect that. You don't need to expect that, that, because the other alternative is that now the streaming medias like Netflix and Amazon are funding projects that Hollywood don't want. So, but still they're Hollywood.
But still they are a middleman, and they have they have their own sponsors. And what I also told you as an example of Def Athletic, they can also say, okay, this is our way of showing things, and your topic doesn't fit this, so I'm sorry, we're out.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually what happened with, I don't remember the name of this movie that in the end Netflix didn't want to show up, and then Angel Studio got it, the ones that also produced, the Turtle Twins. I don't remember, but yeah, the point is that with Bitcoin, I just said you don't have to precisely make Bitcoin movies, but you can have Bitcoin as a tool to make your own projects. Another thing that I want to ask you about the event, I know that it's half party, half conference.
Like on the topic that you guys asked, and I really enjoyed it. Can I ask you a question? That's my favorite question. And so, when it comes to Bitcoin cinema and what it is, and whether it's only about Bitcoin or maybe just expanded consciousness and sovereignty, what is your favorite Bitcoin movie that doesn't mention Bitcoin? And perhaps not Matrix, because that's the is there a movie you can think of that you perceive as a movie, but it doesn't mention Bitcoin? And by the way, those are the kind of movies that I'm really looking forward to see. As the same as in just talking to other people, probably it's wonderful to get into Bitcoin without mentioning it first, just like trying to find some common space. The same with Bitcoin movies. I think it will be very powerful to have some fiction movies that don't necessarily go into technicalities of Bitcoin and or even mentioning Bitcoin.
Yeah,
You can save it for later.
I think I will have to think about it because. Yeah, let me think it, and I will tell you. If not, probably I will send you a message because
Matrix is incredible. It's
Matrix. Matrix is the first one that comes to my mind.
But you can also make a joke that is actually the best documentary, not being documentary, because it's really documenting. When you think about it, it's documenting the current reality in so many ways, even though it's not a documentary, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but it's awesome. So yeah. What I was going to ask you is about the event, because it's half party, half conference, and half FilmFest. So can you provide an overview of the entire event for our audience? Maybe the people, or the focus of the podcast is El Salvador, but also because thank God we have internet, so this is for everyone around the world. So I know that European friends are also watching it. So maybe. Or even people in Latin America that want to come. So, can you provide us?
We will have an option for anyone who cannot join us and they love films and movies and they want to see what is happening on the other side of the world. We do have an option which is called ePlab, and it will give remote access for a very little amount of money to people who would like to see a little bit from the cinema, a little bit from all these games. I would just maybe leave it to Kasia to describe the amazing event we are organizing in April. But yeah, there is an option that you can participate somehow remotely as well.
Okay, you can talk about that as well.
Oh, but another intersection with El Salvador is because we know, guys, that you are throwing out some wonderful celebrities and festivities to celebrate for Halving. But on connection, like we have this chat. We have this chat, a Telegram chat with some Halving party organizers, because we try to merge forces and think together about tradition. Because as we at Bitcoin FilmFest like to compare it, Greeks had their Olympics, which marked their calendars every 4 years, and we have Halving. And so we should also yes, and we should also have a tradition to celebrate that might be celebrating, in 400 years from now, or maybe not that long, but we'll see. And no, not that long, but in, will be celebrated. So we are trying to come up with ideas on how we can all different, Halving party organizers cheer this day together, this block together. So by the way, if anyone from the audience has an idea of how to celebrate Halving, you can, for example, post it on Twitter with the hashtag Halving party, and this way we can get to this and consider that. And Şelale, but you can share some of our ideas for our games, the European Halving Party.
Okay. So, but first of all, so that people are not confused, because we are bringing many different topics.
Yes, sorry.
We are talking about April 19th to 21st, Warsaw, Poland. So, capital of Poland. Yes, like actually a little bit over 3 days, but I will talk about it later. So, April 19th to 21st, Warsaw, Poland. And first of all, this is the second main edition of the Bitcoin Film Festival. So, festival about Bitcoin culture, all this independent cinema that we talked about before. And because this year is this magical year of a Bitcoin halving, the fourth halving actually, we are organizing the second BFF, or BFF 24 as we call, together with the halving party. And as Kasia said, yes, we would like to bring some tradition, something that others can also adapt in the future, because we are focused on films. This year we are doing halving party. Maybe in the next 4 years it's not going to be us, right? So we want to bring something a little bit in the space. And as Kasia also mentioned about this connection to Olympics, for example, one of the agenda that we have within the halving party, so it's actually like one halving, 2 events over 3 days. We are starting already on 18th afternoon with the European Bowling Tournament. There is another conference partnering with us, Free Market. There is also laser tag. So we are not talking about conference. We are talking about cultural experience. First of all, you have this film festival screenings, actually 5 premieres we are going to have. If I remember correctly, there are like 11 titles we are going to screen. We are talking about real cinema, theater cinema experience, you know, filmmakers coming, actors. There will be debates, workshops as well for anyone who wants to learn something about filmmaking, their experience, and so on and so forth. Yeah, awards that I mentioned at the beginning, the voting for different categories. So really like a, let's say, Little Cannes, or some other awards given, or the events for the cinema. But here we are talking about sound movies. And additionally, there is this whole gamification around Halving party. So of course, there will be a party per se, which we made the bet to happen on 4/20 at 4:20 because it's a block for 840,000. So if you put 4:20 and 4:20 is actually, 8 plus it's 2024 for Halving. So, you know, just magic of numbers, but let's see. We will also have a party because of the premiere. I think everyone is, or many people are waiting for it. Dirty Coin is going to premiere with us, and Alana is also running her own party, like pre-premiere party. There will be a lot of games from half marathon, which is not a typical run that you start and finish. It's 21 kilometers, but more creative way to complete and collect points. There will be, a lot of fun, a lot of games. The whole idea is like with this Olympics that there are different teams and people are having this 3 days and a half, so to say, and they can collect points, doing different fun activities, learn about culture, learn about Bitcoin, learn about even psychedelics, because Kasia can tell more about that. Learn about Poland, learn from each other. Learn also about job marketplaces, because some of our partners are providing that. In between, have fun, get to know each other better, and celebrate the power of cinema and the halving. So Bitcoin culture all together.
Cuando dejas tus activos digitales en un exchange o en custodia de alguien más, te expones a riesgos de terceros no deseados. A diferencia del sistema bancario tradicional, Bitcoin te permite tomar el control total de tus fondos utilizando tus propias claves privadas. Esto te permite ser soberano y esencialmente tu propio banco. Al tomar el control de tus Bitcoin, puedes evitar riesgos innecesarios de terceros. Almacenar tus Bitcoin en custodia de terceros como los exchanges puede exponerte a ataques de actores malintencionados, gobiernos o estafadores que lo único que quieren es apoderarse de tu dinero. El proceso de autocustodia puede parecer abrumador al principio, pero afortunadamente Blockstream Jade Wallet hace que sea súper fácil custodiar tus activos. Las billeteras de hardware son dispositivos que almacenan de forma segura las claves privadas de tus bitcoins y activos de Liquid sin conexión a Internet. Las billeteras de hardware aumentan la seguridad de tu billetera porque tus claves privadas se almacenan en un dispositivo especializado que no está siempre conectado al Internet. Como te he dicho antes, mantener tus claves almacenadas en un dispositivo en línea puede exponerte a factores adicionales de ataque, por lo que se recomienda usar una billetera de hardware al almacenar grandes cantidades de Bitcoin durante largos periodos de tiempo. Jade es una billetera de hardware no custodial para Bitcoins y Liquid que ofrece opciones de firma simple y firmas múltiples. Yo personalmente lo utilizo para almacenar mis Bitcoins, ya que me siento mucho más seguro manteniendo mis Bitcoins en una billetera fría que en una almacenada, por ejemplo, en mi teléfono. Si estás pensando en adquirir uno para ti, no olvides utilizar el código de descuento de nuestro show, Bitcorner Podcast. De esta forma estarás apoyando directamente el show y además obtendrás un 10% de descuento para la compra de tu billetera fría. Amazing. Actually, yeah, that's a party per se.
Yes, it's a cultural experience. Yes, definitely. With few parties, there will be also silent disco. A lot of fun. I think really, really a lot of fun.
That's
Juan,
awesome.
does it mean you're a step closer to joining us? Does it mean you're a step?
Yeah, I know. I'll do my best. Yeah. Do you want to add something about the event, Kasia?
I think, I'm a sentimental creature. So as I started, this is also an initiative just created by a group of activists and has a different vibe to your typical Bitcoin conferences. As Shelly said, it's not a conference. And as you mentioned, it's half party, half Bitcoin FilmFest, all about Bitcoin culture, and half conference. It has a rather this laid back atmosphere to it. We want also give the opportunity to our Orange brothers and sisters to spend some more time together, to bond, That's also something important to us. And we have some, I can personally talk about some accents, some interesting accents to it. So we will have, workshops on filmmaking, workshops on storytelling. Yes, so we are very grateful for the contribution of like artists and creators and authors in the sphere that are coming to Warsaw, and will share their knowledge with anyone who wants to learn those crafts. And other workshops are psychedelic workshops, and we have quite a few people in the space who are psychonauts and Bitcoiners, and there are also some parallels there. And when it comes to the magic of dates, 19th of April is actually the 80th anniversary of first LSD trip, so we will also celebrate that with having some amazing speakers talking about how what are the intersections between Bitcoin and psychedelics. Lots of and one of my favorites, it's and again about numbers, is our half marathon idea. So 21 kilometers. But we promise that the formula for it will be...
I mean, not that we invented half marathon has 21 kilometers. It was not that.
Yeah, because the marathon is 42.
Yeah. And also think about it, Halving, right? The first post-made ever running Bitcoin.
Yeah,
exactly. And also when you put Halving, half. You got that?
Yeah, of course.
You have Halving.
Yeah.
Incredible person, one of the cyberpunks that actually probably...
Kasia, it's mind blowing.
But there are so many meanings in that. But the thing is that we are doing it, or most probably we are going to do it in unconventional way, because not everyone would be able to run 21 kilometers. I mean, come on, guys, you need to prepare yourself if you want to walk, and it can be dangerous. But maybe people would like to just join, and we just came up with this idea. Okay, if we're doing something completely new, let's rework it and do it 100% new. So you can make this 21 kilometers, not, as I said, just starting at this hour and then this is the start and this is the finish. You can just do this 21 kilometers in a different way. We will not spoil too much. Whoever comes and joins, they will see. But it doesn't have to be that conventional, typical way that is just limiting the number of people having fun from something. So, yeah. And there will be a lot of things like this. So, yeah. And also to come up maybe to your audience, Juan, whoever is interested in films, what is this cinema, as we sometimes call it? So Bitcoin and cinema, what is it about? What kind of movies, videos there are? How many maybe about Salvador or other neighboring countries? Like Guatemala is another great example. What other sides of the world? Maybe somebody wants to still learn something about Bitcoin or whatever the reason. We are having these tickets. It's called ePlab. I think it costs like $21 now. Still in this early bird. And we are also launching or working with somebody to co-launch the VOD platform. So if somebody cannot join us in person, of course, this is the best because we are doing it for an experience, but they would like to see what this space is about, what kind of filmmakers, maybe to also get some inspiration and start filming their own neighborhood. Yeah. Just consider, just go to EuropeanHalvingParty.com, check the tickets options. If you have questions, send us a DM on Twitter, Telegram, send us an email. But if you want to explore it, not being able to join us in person, that's an option for you. ePlab.
That's cool. I was writing down some ideas, some thoughts that I have, because if not, I forget everything. So the first one is that I want to share a fun fact that it was when I was studying engineering, there was this class, because before being an engineer, I wanted to be a filmmaker, but it was more like a hobby. But of course, in El Salvador, there are not much opportunities for that. But yeah, anyway, I had this when I was doing engineering, we had this class that it was about cinema. And it was super cool because besides watching movies, we learn a few topics about how how to film, the angles and everything, and we saw the history of cinema. So yeah, it was quite interesting. So it's super cool because maybe for someone that don't know if they want to be a real professional filmmaker, maybe they want to do it as a hobby or as a side hustle. It's super cool that you have these workshops where they can share some techniques, some behind the scenes of what is the other side, because people, we know we are the spectator, but we don't see the other side of filmmaking.
And when it comes to filmmaking, it's not only filmmakers. We are talking about big projects. There is script writers, there is people doing trailers, people doing coloring, camera people, like costume, music, huge space. So it's not only filmmakers, right? So
it's art.
It's art. And also, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, please.
Kasia, go ahead.
I was, yeah. Okay. But besides this, like, I think another thing is that we, as an initiative, as Bitcoin FilmFest, not only treated quite extensively in its scope when it's topic-wise, as we discussed, just treating it also as an independent cinema about autonomy, sovereignty, and of course, primarily Bitcoin. But that we are also very open to different formulas and forms. So it's not only movies, it's also, cartoons, it's YouTube content creator. So with these workshops, I think anyone can be a filmmaker in a sense right now, because you can make a movie with an iPhone if you have a good story to tell. So
yeah, absolutely. Şelale, you were going to say something?
No, this is Kasia actually was digging inside my head, so she
she was reading your mind.
Yeah, say exactly the same thing. So thank you, Kasia.
That's awesome. I love this connection. The other thing that I write is that I just remind two films but I don't know how, but maybe they're related. One is Before Vendetta.
Oh yeah, my favorite as well. One of my top 5. Yeah.
And the other one, The Fight Club.
Yes. Wow, you are inside my head.
You see?
What's happening? This is Matrix.
You see? So yeah, these are my answers.
Thank you.
Ask me more because I don't remember. But those are the ones that came to my mind because they are popular and somehow are. I mean, it's what you said. They don't mention Bitcoin at all, but the essence of what is behind in the core of Bitcoin, it's mentioned there. One, it's fighting the anarchy, and the other one is make more human connections. Yeah.
And also to spoil something that might happen in April for whoever's coming. Because there will be, of course, we have this 11 titles. I think it's 11, then 5 premieres. But overall, the event is having the last day, half of it on Sunday. Well, it's half of the day. And we are really running it in a building that has a cinema. So maybe what we will try to do, we will talk to the cinema as well. In between all the activities in our main screenings, maybe them featuring some of these movies, like Matrix, like V for Vendetta, like some of the movies that you are not able to find that easily, but they are close to the Bitcoin ethos. So whoever wants to just for a while go and watch, that's another beauty of what we are doing, I believe. If you are overwhelmed with people, if you don't want to be alone, but if you want to just be focused on something else, sitting next to somebody, not generally talking, you just jump into the cinema. So we will try to do that, right, Kasia? But let's see if it will happen.
That will be amazing. By the way, how do you select the films that you're going to show? And I mean, because I'm thinking, if in the other side, if you're a producer that want to have the opportunity to show something of their work, how and I don't know, how do you select these films, and what role do you think they play in conveying the message of Bitcoin?
You mean for this particular event or in general?
Yeah, no, in this event.
For this event.
Yeah. Or so in the
Kasia,
future events.
Do you want me to answer or?
Yes, please. But Juan, that's an excellent question.
Okay. Yeah, the problem is that I hardly see you. I don't know if it's only for me. You are very blurred, so I don't see your reactions. And I'm not sure if you want
Kasia,
to say
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But in post-production, she was... Yeah, but in post-production, she will look
okay.
amazing.
So, not to say anything about the future, because anything can change. But for now, actually, there's a lot of interesting films that will probably be released this year. We got more than a dozen for this festival. What we are trying to make as a
prioritize. Yeah, it's a hard word.
Yeah, make as a priority is movies where the filmmakers are coming. Because it's not necessary, when you think about it, it's not necessary to sit in the cinema and watch tons of content that you can watch later on, especially if we manage with this VOD platform, and some of them will be sooner than later available, right? It's more about learning what are the stories behind these films, who made them, what were their struggles, success stories, to meet these people. I mean, we are talking about festival. We are not talking about just going to the cinema. It's a festival. Yeah. It's a celebration of this newly growing space. So the main priority is given to creators, filmmakers, producers that are coming to join us. And share their experience and their story. So this is the first thing. Second, of course, it's the submission who first has a higher chance. So yeah, this is how I can describe it for now, at least.
Yeah, and about Şelale presented the selection for what we are screening, but when it comes to our Golden Rabbit Awards, I want to brag about. I really want to brag about. We have a wonderful group of creators, and I don't know whether we can disclose it yet, but we have a wonderful group. All I can say is we have a wonderful group of creators and very creative souls from the space that will be the one to choose the winners.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, for the voting, yes.
That's so cool. No, what I was going to say that now I see why I get along so well with you guys, because in the end we have the same core. That is, I mean, one of the main focuses on my podcast is to, of course, about the projects and everything, or the events, or any tool that someone is bringing, but in the end is to meet the people. Who are the people that are working behind X project, X event, X, because in the end we are humans, so we have different stories, and somehow we feel related with any guest that is coming to the show. So it's important to know the person that is behind anything, right, and what they inspire you and to do what they do.
Yeah, and especially when it comes to filmmaking, I mean, what you see is this end result, right? The final result. It requires a lot of work, and it might have sometimes even like different idea. Like we will be screening this movie. It's called Gods of Their Own Religion, which is not actually about Bitcoin, but more about freedom. It's and its story is interesting. So it's very artistic. It's a dystopian reality. Like the empire is like taking souls of its citizens. And then there are a couple of rebellions who stood up. But actually, the story behind this movie is very interesting, because Naim Mahmoud, who the producer, the filmmaker behind it, he made it in the middle of the lockdown in London. You know, so
wow.
Yeah, so I think if somebody is able to watch it and then learn how they made it, why he did it, and also the main message that there is a mind virus, the concept of the mind virus as well. People is just mind blowing for me. Like it's incredible. So, and many of these films and movies and then like shorter productions, they have this thing. So I believe it's more valuable for people, could be more valuable for people to get into that first, and then they will experience this whole movie completely different.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree. Guys, we're almost having 1 hour, and I want to be very respectful with your time. So let's begin. Let's start wrap it up. I think I'm going to make you maybe two more questions, if that's okay. So one of the questions is that I don't know if you want to make some examples or highlights any movies that are going to be there, or besides all the activities that you says that maybe that you're going to show there, or yep, just thinking on that. If you want to highlight some of them.
If talking about movies, I think I am exuberant about the premiere of Dirty Coin, and I'm saying that also from my human rights angle, because I'm recently looking up like more closely into Bitcoin mining as it regards like its potential really planetary impact. So I'm really looking forward to this, and I think this is one of the most anticipated movies indeed in the space.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And for everyone who would like to see what's in the agenda, follow us on social media, so like Twitter, Nostr if you're using LinkedIn. On the website bitcoinfilmfest.com/BFF 2024. So if you go anyway to bitcoinfilmfest.com, you can find the proper link and see the agenda, like the titles, at least some of them that we will be screening, the categories that these films can win the Golden Rabbit in. If you go to EuropeanHalvingParty.com, you can see more about event overall. Also subscribe to our newsletter, so you will be updated not only about Bitcoin cinema, which is not promo newsletter, is literally like everything collected from the space, and additionally you will be also receiving emails closer to the event about the event itself. So yeah, follow us on social media, check our websites. It's not like shilling, but if you want to learn what's there, just put your own work, proof of work, go there, check questions. We have open Telegram chat. Just join there as well, ask questions, raise your voice, like raise your hand. So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm going to add everything on the podcast notes so people can just click it and go there. And yeah, okay, this is, I think, not my last question, because I want to ask you something more, but what impact do you hope to have with the European Halving Party in the Bitcoin community in the end?
This is what probably Kasia already mentioned before, talking about this tradition, right? It would be very nice if we can all together, like our party, we call it as well pleb party. That's why the tickets are like pleb, e-pleb, super pleb, because we want to do it for people and with people together. And as Kasia also mentioned, we are in touch with other organizers of the Halving parties this year, at least some of them. So I think it would be very beautiful if we manage to have this thing that can continue, that people will enjoy, that they will maybe expand, improve, and use in the future. Overall, as somebody nicely said during the Bitcoin Atlantis, from which we just came back, the people are the layer zero. It's, of course, the Bitcoin is the most important layer, but it's us. So whatever we can come up with, and then we will enjoy, hopefully during these halving parties, might stay and just get better and better.
Yeah, I just hope that this continue, and that with this kind of event, people can connect, have networking, and in the end have fun.
Yes,
because it's
exchange experiences, learn from each other, inspire each other.
And continue doing it on different places as well.
Or another thing would be like, I would find it super satisfying if, someone participates in our workshops on filmmaking, and then some new valuable content arises. That would be also super cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that would be so amazing. Yeah, that people can get inspired by other creators.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Guys, last question is, what can people expect from you in the future? Well, you already mentioned where to find you, but at a personal level, and if you have any interesting projects that you want to share, what's coming next for both of you, Kasia and Şelale?
You mean like private, other than the Bitcoin FilmFest?
Yeah, I don't know if you have side projects. I know this is a big project, but for example, I have the podcast, but that I also making my newsletter and also doing these short videos that I have it.
I would love to answer it, but I will let Kasia speak first.
All right.
Oh, I'm all in my human rights advocacy and Bitcoin FilmFest. We actually have a very exciting project in store, but we'll announce it very soon. So this is so please check our Twitter to see that. Shelley, what about you?
Yeah. So with me, I do have a couple of smaller projects. One of them is just bringing awareness and education. That's why I said at the beginning I can call myself the Bitcoin evangelist. So whenever I travel with my husband, we set up something that we called Unchain the World. Is an umbrella term under which we can either do workshops or connect with people, Bitcoiners, or just bring people from external space. Is not online yet that fully, but will be soon. But what I want to do here more is related to one of the things I'm working on is kids and teenagers. So I made this logic coloring book for kids with different creatures telling stories. There is also one creature from El Salvador. Her name is Elise.
That's cool.
And it's everything that will help kids to be more creative. So it's not like a typical coloring books that you just have beautiful pictures to finish lines. There is a lot of creativity involved, a lot of, let's say, working with parents, older siblings and friends. There is also some basic things kids can learn. And this is one part of the project I want to later bring under this Unchain the World and do more things for kids because I think they need it. I experienced life in Madeira. I am in touch with a couple of incredible teenagers and even younger than teenagers. And I hope that next time when we have a podcast, I can tell you about one bigger project that is supporting these juniors building the new world on Bitcoin.
That's amazing. That's super awesome. And guys, I wish you the best of luck with the event. To have fun and people go there and see, because there will be a lot of things. So guys, just to wrap it up, there will be the Dirty Coin premiere party, the Warsaw Walking Tour, the European Bowling Tournament, the Split Quiz. I'm reading all of them because there's a lot. Laser Day and Silent Disco and a lot of activities. So if you want to know more, just do what Şelale said. Go to the group on Telegram, watch. I'm going to leave all the links in the podcast notes and see you there. So thank you for being on the show, guys.
Thank you. See you in Warsaw. And good luck as well, Juan, with everything you're doing. Amazing job.
Thank you so much. Guys, see you next week. Thank you. See you, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.
See you next week. Ciao.